Okay, so scope is something that JavaScript does very uniquely with other languages. It is basically the variables you have access to, like based on a given line of code. Good with it. Functions, it's really all about functions. When you're inside of a function, it's going to have access to variables that may not be accessible to another function and may not be accessible to like the lower level. Yeah. Yeah, I can like send it. I can send it as a PDF onto the materials tab. Is that what they named it? Right. Yeah. All right. Okay. So it's really pre-reading right now. Just double checking it's not pre-reading. If anyone, does anyone access it? You got it? Cool. All right. It's not pre-reading. Cool. All right. So yeah, scope. Typically defining variables uses something called var, and that's what we emphasize in business prep is var. If you know any of the other ones, don't quite yet. You can have some patience with it. Because yeah, var, how you declare them, and so you're inside a function basically is if you define a variable with var, the difference inside a function is going to not be within that function scope and not in any of the function. There's other rules, but yeah, and then there's no other new scopes in the JavaScript you're writing that that aren't created by functions. So you don't have to look at any other weird like brackets. Don't create new scopes. Functions do. All right, so this is something you guys are used to. It's a function. You define it. You pass in an argument 3. You declare a variable called none inside of the function, and we return n plus none. And it will in fact successfully log out number 8. That makes sense, right? What we're used to. So this one demonstrates that same thing, same result, and it works. But this demonstrates that this function has access to none all inside it. So when it's run, it has access to none, but also we're also passing an argument called none, which this function also does. And then it will return 8. So this function has access to this num, but it actually gets overridden by the argument that's being passed in the function. So we're passing in the variable num on line 15 into the function. So 5 is defined here, it's passed in here, and then send the argument here, and then we return 5 plus demonstrating any crazy concept yet, just something that, yes? Yeah, so scope is this right here, like lines 9, 10, 14, 15 would be the global scope. Yeah, right. It can be accessed from any function, yeah. Like you can kind of see it as like functions can look out and see, like in one-way mirror. Like functions can look out and see any variables defined like outside of it, but like as long as like a level below. But the global scope couldn't look into it. And that was demonstrated. Here's another one. This shows that we didn't create an argument in this example called num. So the function, as I said, can look out and see inside the global scope and grab that num, return, and return it and add it and return it. Any questions so far? All right, so this one where it gets tricky. We have two functions here. Lines 27 and 29 here are jump strings. Right? We declared a variable num inside a new scope for the function scope. And then line 31 and 33 here, the new scope. We're not defining anything besides n as an argument. And then we're saying n plus num. What do you guys think is happening? Yeah, nice. Not gonna work. So it's not. Yeah. Yeah, num is not defined. You can't find it. But, you know, we can see it right there. What's going on? Well, there we go. So, yeah. So here's an example. This function is declaring its own num inside the scope, but the global scope can't look in. One way near it. Function can look out if it was trying to do something with a global variable. It can look out and see it. But global can't go inside here and grab it. For that example. So once again, num is not defined because console only tries to access it. So in this case, we just have a function that returns 5. And num is, like, although we generated the value of num in create num and we returned it, we still have access to it in the global scope because we set a variable equal to the result of that function. So we kind of took something that we built inside of create num, we sent it outside of create num, and we grabbed it right here on line 53. We're like, all right, we got it. We're taking this 5, and now we can use it because we defined it in the scope that we're logging it out. Does that make sense? Yes. Anything else? All right, so we're getting a little crazier here. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. So, someone tell me why num2, I mean, pretty easy. Why is num2 not defined? Why is there a reference error when you log it out? Yeah. it's being called. Yeah, defined. Yeah, it was created in a scope that it's. We're trying to log it out in the global scope, but it was created in a function scope, specifically with the var queue. But we can access it inside of, when we're logging out on line 6, we can actually access it on line 6 because we're in the same scope that it's defined. And then we can also access num1, right? So this one, like I said, you see out in the global scope and see num1, and it knows its value, so it can log it out. But the global scope can't look in. That make sense? Yeah, and then so this will get, it's really crazy because if we had another function defined inside of the printnum, that function can look out actually to its parent function. And it saves those variables. So there's only a rule, yeah. So it's a global, yeah, but okay, so sorry, the rule is that the function, so if you define a function here, it can access its parent's scope, but the parent won't be able to access the new function. And we'll do an example of that later. Yeah, okay, so what we call the global scope is the window. When you're in the browser, it's window. If you open your browser, I'll just show you right now. Okay, you open the dev tools in your browser. Let's see, if we do, okay, let's just do an example. So if we do console.log window, okay, they don't let you do it in there. Yeah, there's a window object on your web browser. I'll show you guys when I'm helping you guys with the tickets, because you'll be dealing with window variables. That's what I mean by global. And that has your, when you access something called like the string, like the type coercion string thing, or you access array.isArray, or what are some other ones? Those are already built into the window object. So those are like global variables that JavaScript has in the object. If you log out window, you'll see just like a million functions and objects that are required for the browser to run. And you can add your own, but it's not recommended, frowned upon. You can add your own just by not using the var. If you're defining something for the first time, like you haven't defined it earlier with var, and then you just decide to start using some variable like equals, it's going to be a global variable, and that means that it can be accessed by anyone, scope anywhere. And that might sound useful, but it can lead to a lot of problems in your code. So that's why it's a dangerous thing. Yeah, don't ever do this. You see, they just started using my string without declaring it with var beforehand. If we declared it with var, like above, like a var my string equals null right here even, or wherever, that's okay. That's okay, but yes. it gets hoisted, but not the value. So like, so with this specific example, yeah. So do you like understand hoisting already? Okay, okay. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what would happen. It's the same rules apply, but we'll talk about it. Okay, so because you might override something you don't do. Yeah, so it's just like definitely you only use your head, you only use the global scope, and it's just like go through this real quick so you guys understand what a possible thing could be. You see how trust me right here is being changed like without we didn't like change we didn't have like a new variable in there called like trust me inside this function or something. So when you counting on you counting you equal to true, we call counting on you, it checks to see if trust me is equal to true. But we call don't mind me beforehand, which sets this global variable at least equal to false. So it starts as true, on we define this function, we define that function, and when we run don't mind me, trust me is set equal to false because we access this global. We access global variable, we change it. And then we ran counting on you. Trust me is not false, which don't mind me happens. And so the second is trust me to be true. Unfortunately, it's not, and you're going to get so yeah, this is an example of if you're using something in a global scope and then you're like you want to just use it randomly in your functions, you're not like thinking ahead of like what's going to use it or not. You could accidentally flip it to some value that you don't want. I mean, it's a really simple example, but what happens? Yeah. No, because that's a comparison. It's not very equal to yeah, it's just comparing C to the 2. Yeah. So any questions on this? Anyone want to say yeah? Yeah. You are kind of using the global scope because I mean like these functions counting on you don't mind me those on the global scope and then yeah like there might be like problems with between isolated environments it's okay but they do use the global scope to make it the problem really yeah like for the purpose of these exercises we're going to make sure that you understand like the workshop will go through show you issues in the global scope and how to get confusing but yeah, confusing for some problems, especially if coding exams will see and yeah. That's just that way like if you think it as red areas including the console of your browser, you can see there's a red line, that's how you know. Yeah. So what do you think the favorite fruit is gonna be here? You have a guess? Nobody knows? Yeah. It's easy. Um, If you did console favorite outside of outer, yeah, it would say Granny Smith. But even if you called outer, so even if we call, or even if we logged out on line 14, like what is the favorite now? Because you think, okay, we changed favorite equal to Fuji in the outer function, so you think, but we actually didn't. We created a whole new variable, favorite, inside of the scope of that function. That like, yes, you're not even referencing when we're talking about line 7 and we're logging out Fuji, like, and when we set favorite equal to line onto line 4, we didn't actually even touch the favorite from line 1. Like that still exists in the global scope, and it's still Granny Smith. But inside the function, we have a whole new that the function just gets to play with and do whatever it wants with no effect on the rest of it. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right. If you don't, it'll actually change it. Right. That's why you gotta have keeping good practice using bar. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're saying, did you have to call inner in order for that log to happen? Yeah. In this code, the way this code is written, yeah. In order to get that log to happen, we have to call inner. But yeah, we could have just gotten rid of that the function inner and just logged it out ourselves. Yeah. Inside of outer. But this is just showing that inner has access to outer's version of favorite. Like I was talking about how we define the function. If we define a function inside of our function, that function has access to its parent scope, which then also has access to the global scope. However, it just doesn't work on the other way around. So global does not have access to this favorite, and then if inner had its own favorite, outer wouldn't be able to have access to that favorite. So it's like a one-way mirror. You can look up, but you can't go back. You can't go up and down. You can look out, but not in. Yeah. No, it's 2 1. Yeah. Outer gets called, which is called inner. Yes, even though we're defining inner on line 6, doesn't mean we're running line 7. We're only running line 7 really when inner is called here. Then you come back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah, so the same thing. Yeah. Any more questions on this? Cool. Parameters. This is tricky because pay attention to this one. The work out is going to go into a loop on you. So, oh yeah, we definitely. So we got the same thing here, except what's different? Someone tell me. Yeah, we got an argument, and so instead of defining favorite with var inside of outer, we're passing in that value, which is Fuji, as an argument. So it's the same thing happening. What do you guys think? Yeah, it's not. Yeah, same thing happens. This is, when it comes to how you're dealing with scope, having an argument is essentially the same thing as saying like bar this. So yeah, so what we saw, I guess they tell you what's the thing. So this, literally same functional result. Look at key lines, line 4. Doing that is functionally the same as having an argument called favorite and passing in a value of 2g to the function. Yeah. Yes, it's actually yeah. Yeah. All right, yeah. Iffies. So this one is tricky, and it's part of the workshop that has these in it. These are really tricky things. Iffies are, let me explain them. This is a normal function. You're used to this. We've got we define it on line 1, and then we call it on line 6, right? Defining and calling are on 2 separate lines. You guys think we do that on 1 line, maybe? What do you guys think? The answer is you can with the magic of iffies. You literally define and then call a function. I guess it's not the same line, but in the same expression. You're defining and calling it. It's not 2 separate actions. You might be wondering, why would you do that? Really, it's because of scope. You get to now not use the global scope. So, like, this kind of thing is running code. It's defining a function and like executing it immediately. I guess the same thing is just executing like code without even doing that function, right? You have to separate it. Because now you can essentially kind of just like log out variables, whatever, or create all your variables with var as if they were on the global scope, but you're actually inside of the function. And the reason I think they have us teach this is just because it's in the workshop. So just when you see this specific pattern, you're going to see like this parenthesis around the function declaration, and you're going to see another parenthesis afterwards. That's just what an iffy is, and just note that that is that you can pass arguments in that as well, because this is actually, this argument is actually becoming this argument. Yeah, this is that, and then we're logging out. So there's going to be one part where they like use that. So like pay attention to if like nothing is being passed in, or like if iffy is accepting an argument. Any questions about iffies? Yeah. Yeah. So you said, however, you said cool iffy, and then right. So oh yeah, right. So instead of calling another function cool iffy, and then yeah, but then it technically wouldn't be an iffy. Yeah. Yes. 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 Yeah. So we're going to see this log right here. That log is going to say, yeah, I'm going to do something because I'm in. It's going to pass in yawn. And we're going to log out yawn right after that. And then this is going to say, well, I'm being called right now, it's really cool. And it's going to log out this right afterwards. Because this is technically being passed in here and then log out. Any questions on these? Totally makes sense to get a question on these. Yeah. 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 It's like an order of operations thing. Yeah, the voice said we're calling a function. Yeah, there's nothing too crazy besides like the syntax. Really, it's kind of weird. But you can see it as like those parentheses that are around the function declaration are just for order of operations. Yeah. So any more questions on IFs? All right. Hoisting, right. All right, so the last part, hoisting. Yeah, so the JavaScript interpreter, guys. That's some crazy things. Basically, when you use var ever, before any of your code runs, it goes through all your code and it finds all the var keywords. It finds what you named them, and it actually when it's running it, technically in JavaScript runtime, all of those var keywords are hoisted to the top of the scope. So that means like if it's global, it'll be the lines 1, line 2, line 3 of your code. But the difference is when it's brought up to the top, it's not set to the values that you set it to. So the second example on the right-hand side shows that we define a variable called x equal to 2. And then before we even defined it, though, we were trying to access it. However, JavaScript doesn't throw an error this time. It just says undefined because it actually took this part and it put it up on line 1. But it didn't take the second part. So being undefined is good because if you never did var and you tried to access it, you would get a reference error and your JavaScript code would stop running. Questions on this one? Yeah.
Okay, so suppose you were to wrap that in the second.
Oh, interesting. You were
to define var as something else, and
Right.
even call.
So you're saying it's curly bracket, as in like the bracket is function.
Yes.
Which one? The whole thing.
The entire thing.
So brackets themselves don't create new scope. Let's do it.
Made it a function.
Yeah. Let's check that out. So if we have var x equals 0, we'll console x here, and then we have a function. I think it sends it to the top of the scope. So function test, and then I think if we try to so we have a var here, var y equals 9. We try to log y here. I don't think it has it. I think it actually throw an error. Yeah, there's a difference between y is not defined versus, see how that's different? Like, it says x, just says undefined for x. It doesn't throw a red error, right? But for y, it throws a red error, which means stop JavaScript now. Because what's actually happening is this var y is just being hoisted. It basically looks like this, like var y. And then it's like, they just do that. Yeah. I wish I was one of the JavaScript masters that could tell you why they did this. But it's nice because sometimes it doesn't throw errors for you if you're like, it's probably because like the web is asynchronous and all these things are like JavaScript is naturally built for like having things run at different times, like different scripts run at different times, and it's just generally unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen on a website, and you'd rather have things just say undefined and be a value undefined rather than like throw an error and cause JavaScript to stop running. It's probably just for like use of the websites. Yeah. Yeah, I'm talking about like why they made that decision to do that. Yeah. They just wanted to do passive. Okay, cool. All right, just optimizing. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, if we switch the order, we get 0. Yeah. Whoa. Oh, yeah. So y still not making it. So if we log out y here, we don't even get there, do we? We log out y there, it's undefined. We log out y here. Yeah. Oh yeah, we didn't call it function. Sure. Let's see if no, I won't change anything. Yeah, so. But even if we call the function, we're still not going to get. Still gonna error, yeah. All right, so that's more in-depth version of scope there. There's between function. Okay, yeah. What's cool about so functions specifically, I think, are cooler with hoisting. This is really where hoisting, the whole variables hoisting thing, you don't really run across like planning those decisions. I like run into bugs once where I was like, oh, it's because I hoisted something, and I really solved it. But really, what's powerful is using functions. So yeah, you guys have seen functions be written with the big function, well, with the function word and then the name. And sometimes you see a var name equals function. Big difference there. One takes the value with it that you set it to. The one where it's just, you just say function, so that's called the function declaration. So that's the lower one. And let me get you guys more space. That's called function declaration. And that, not only does it take the name, to say hi, and bring it to the top, it also takes what the function does. So you can see the first example runs an error and says like, or it just says it's not a function. It's going to be in red in your console. And then the second one actually runs the actual function that has the value. It has the value. So if we do, oh yeah, cool. We already have a function for that. So we can move this test all the way to the top. Oh, so it would be cool if we did. Yeah. So do you guys think this will run an error? Do you think test will be called up here? Yeah, it will. We can do it. Pretty cool. Do you think if we logged out y now, if we logged out y here, think will have access to it? Will y be undefined? What do you guys think? Will it be undefined? Will it throw an error? Will it be 0? What do you say? Throw an error? All right. Okay. It's gonna throw an error. And that's because, why do you think? Yeah, it's in totally different scope. So even though you call a function before whatever, it still never knew, that global scope still never knew that y was defined to be 0. Only that function had access to y ever. Well, after it's done executing, once the function is done executing, all of the variables in most conditions, if you just have a function, you're not defining other functions within it, once it's done executing, all those variables it created, those go away. Yeah, no matter what. So like it's not like even if you waited and called it much later, it still would never have access to y. You're calling test inside of it, right? So right. So right. Just to sum up everything. So you see how, so let's do the first one, first y. Oh, this is actually, well, yeah, technically that's the first. And this is the second. And this is the third one in this round. You guys understand why that's the order? And we can choose about the order here. So here I'll run them. Yes. And make it nice. But that's pretty good. Yeah. So the first one that gets run, because so just to go over why functions, what's happening with functions in functions, is JavaScript runs through your code, right? It'll find var x, it'll place that to this value, then it'll find this var y, it'll place it to the top of this function, and then it also finds this function declaration, var test, and it puts it at the very top, and it brings this whole body in. So it's actually defined the way it is. And that's why we can use test here, because we use the specific keywords right here, we can use test up here, even though technically we haven't even gotten that in. Because JavaScript already went through all of our code, found test, and it's going to let us use it right away. We can do it on line 1 or 2. And that's specific to that keyword. So if we did var test3 equals function, and we did test3, it's not a function because we didn't use the special function word. We did var. Confusing? Okay, so let's just do a simple example with let's just do, we got two functions here, one called test, one called test3. Key difference, function declaration, function expression. var test 3, we're naming it, we're using var keyword equal to function. Test 3 will not be defined as we're using the declaration. And we're using function keyword, it is actually defined right away. JavaScript goes through our code, it finds this specific keyword whenever we're using it without the var keyword, and it brings it all the way to the top and lets us use it from line 1. And then does the same for test 3. All it does is if we were to log out test 3, let's do, it would be what? What do you guys think it would be? Would it be a reference error, or would it be an error, or would it just say undefined? Or would it be the function? Yeah, undefined, yeah. So it sounds like you guys got it. But if we logged out test, what would it be? I think it would just say function. Yeah. That's the key difference between those two forms of defining functions. Mm-hmm. Not fun. I was saying, with expression, like contemporary, it's saying that y is not going there. Oh, because, well, it's the same thing, because we use var, right? So, like that's what we're doing with all these variables, right? Var x equals 0, right? If we console log x, it'll just be undefined, just like test 3. So when you're using var, it takes the name, it knows what names to use basically. It stores all those, puts them at the top, and then you can access the names, but it's going to value them. So that's why it just doesn't know that test 3 has been defined as a function yet. It goes through, finds, and then something called test with this special keyword, so I'm going to set it to the function because I know that's what you want. Then it finds test 3 with just using var, so I'm not going to do anything special with it. I'm just going to take that name and let it be defined, or like the name, and it does something with var. And the other scenario is when you just don't define anything at all, that's when the error shows up. And even that will show up even if you use the function body. Yeah. No, you will be able to use test 3 below line 11. After it's been defined as a function here, then you can use it. Yeah, yeah, until it's actually set equal to something. Yeah. We just know that JavaScript just runs through it. It just uses the var test 3. It looks like this. They grab it and it looks like this. Var test 3. That's what it writes. And then they do like var x. But then for test, they do the whole function. They like set it equal to everything. It's special. Yeah. Any more questions on this? This is the last slide. So. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. It's just because it's inside the scope of that function. Hoisting is by scope. Mm-hmm. when I'm talking about these rules and it goes up, if you're inside of another scope, it'll just go up to the top of the scope. Mm-hmm. So every turn will only happen if you try to call variable outside the scope. Or what was the other term you said? Okay. Yeah. Right. It's because the one is y. But it's important to note that the only reason that when you're doing that whole y exercise that was undefined sometimes is because it was just inside of another function. If I would have put that y declaration outside of that function, it would have hoisted and would have had a value undefined. So it limits some of the rest. So those are the three things: reference pairs, undefined, or entire body. There is an actual function. Three different results based on this. Anyone confused about what happens when? Any more questions at all? You want me to say everything again? I'm just going to go through one more time. So, text is hoisted JavaScript runs through all of our signs. So it's used that we use a special keyword function. It brings this whole thing to the top, this whole entire lines 10 to 12. It'll have its own version at the top. And then it goes right here. It just says, okay, you're using test 3. Okay, great. I'm going to put this here. But I'm not going to write the rest because you didn't use the special keyword. And it says, oh, okay, you're using X. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna put this up there. Okay, and then that's the first pass through your code. And then now it's ready to actually run all of the lines of code. So when it goes through, it does all these logging, which you don't have to worry about. And then on line 17, it actually gives test3 values. So if we were to console log test3 at this point, it would be a function. If we were to console log x at this point, it would now equal 0. Function 0. But before that, if we were to log it right here, console log test3, just says undefined, which is different only under this weird scenario where you're defining var y inside of like another function. So like when I went through that first pass, notice I did not hoist this to the top. This technically would get hoisted right here. All right. Any more questions? I can do it one more time if you guys want. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that's the whole issue with the global thing. So if we just did like this, then what JavaScript does is it looks like, oh, is there already a variable called y? I think, yeah, it's going to check the window. Is there a variable called y? And it's going to say no, so it's going to create a window one, which will actually be accessible. Like we'll actually be able to log it out. Well, not there. We haven't called that. So if we call test, we'll actually be able to get it now. Yeah. So what just happened? So I just had that there, and that did something crazy.
It's y stat, y comma. That's a weird line. Just don't do y comma. It's weird.
Yeah. So now it's on this global scope. But don't do that. Don't do that. But that's what would happen.
Okay, okay, cool. I'm gonna open up the workshop for you guys. This is our amazing fellow. Introduce yourself. Jack. Cool. He'll be helping with the help figures. I'll come around too. Yep. All right.